Hello everybody, hopefully you are having an amazing day. It is day number 5 of our challenge. I am always super excited to present to you the material. If you haven't been following along, then you should be checking your emails. You should be going to the Facebook group because there's been some information in there this week. We have challenged you to take control of your health. So this is day number 5. We have a new topic. There may be some people who are just joining the challenge because we do have that invitation still extended. So if this is your first day, your first video, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are excited to make sure that you learn the simple things that can help you improve and to live a longer life. And so this week so far, just to recap, we've talked about activity, we've talked about diet, we've talked about eating right, we've talked about blood pressure, and today, who can guess? Who can guess what we are going to talk about today? It is so ironic that because of today's topic, I actually had a patient to come in who has a new piece of medical equipment, and she wanted to make sure that she had it all keyed up and it's just right for her to use. And so it is so fitting that it's in line with our topic for the day. I asked her just to let me hold on to it so I can make sure to show it to you. So today we are going to talk about blood sugar. So as always, you should be able to download your PDF file. These are directly from the American Heart Association. We have a strong affiliation with the American Heart Association because we teach and train all of our CPR and first aid classes according to their guidelines. And so we also make sure that we do all things heart according to the American Heart Association. So we have the Life Simple 7 handouts. You've been getting one every day. They're awesome to print out. They're awesome to write your notes on. They're awesome just to keep track and just to know what things you need to do to live life simply. So today we're actually going to talk about blood sugar. And so that, you'll know, is most importantly associated with diabetics. So some of you may not routinely check your blood sugar. If you feel so inclined, you can talk to your accountability partner. Some of you are paired up. You can talk to your accountability partner and let them know if you are in fact a person who is diabetic or what we call borderline or pre. Y'all know how I feel about those terms, but they're still out there. So if you are a person who's had some struggles with blood sugar in the past, go ahead and let your accountability partner know that so that they can add that extra step and to help motivate you about ways to improve your blood sugar. If you're so inclined, you can also put that in the post in the Facebook group. It's also good to see that level of transparency among other people so that you realize that you aren't the only one who's struggling. You aren't the only one who has certain disease processes, but you may be the one who can change your life and the way in which others around you actually process that disease process. So today we're talking about how to reduce your blood sugar. So the very first thing is you have to what? Know your number. So that's what she actually bought, and she has a new machine, an Accu-Chek Aviva. So some of you may be familiar with Accu-Chek machines. There are several different types of machines. This just happens to be the one that her insurance covers. So you should make sure if you have a diagnosis of diabetes and if you are insured, your insurance does cover a certain amount of blood sugar checks per day. If you're taking oral medications as a general rule, or if you're in the borderline or pre, typically they're only going to cover you once a day. There may be some variations on that, but just once a day. If you take insulin, they may cover you in accordance to your guidelines for insulin. So if you take insulin 3 times a day and at bedtime, they may cover you to check up to 5 times a day. Just depending on your variability of your insulin intake. But just know if you are on oral medications, pills, or if you are diet controlled with your blood sugar, you may not get the allowance of test strips and lancets that you would need. So that's the machine that I showed you. These are the little test strips. So these test strips actually go into the machine, and on the end of them, that's what you put your blood on. You have test strips. This lighting is not the best, I'm sorry. You have lancets that you actually stick your finger to put the blood on the test strip, and so that the meter is going to give you a reading. So guess what your challenge is for today? Guess what your challenge is for today? I know it's not rocket science because I know some of you probably know me well by now. It is to get your blood sugar checked. I'm all about knowing your numbers. We've talked so far about weight. We've talked so far about exercise and how much you should be exercising in a day's time. We talked yesterday about blood pressure. Now it's time for blood sugar. So I want you to get your blood sugar checked today. Now, you may work in an office that is able to check that for you, or there should be some people that you know who has a blood sugar machine. So they may be so kind as to let you use their blood sugar machine. Get the value, and then you can use that value to trend where it is on your chart. Now, the best blood sugar value will be in the mornings before you eat any food. If you do check it during the day, you want to check it 2 hours after you eat, because that's going to give you the value of having your body's natural insulin start working in your system and to bring it down. So it's important that you understand glucose levels. So the first step to understanding that is knowing that carbohydrates and sugars in excess actually turn into glucose in your system. So in your system, meaning your stomach and your digestive tract. So that's why sometimes people say, oh, I don't eat a lot of sweets, but yeah, you eat a lot of rice and potatoes and bread. That extra, and macaroni and potato salad, those extras are turning into sugars or glucose in your system. And when it enters the bloodstream, then that's when you're going to have a problem, when it's in excess. So our bodies make some insulin, and the insulin that our bodies make helps to decrease our blood sugar. It's a hormone. It's made in the pancreas. But we can work our pancreas too much and too hard because of all the excess sugars that's in our system. And so the insulin is a hormone that is made in the pancreas, and it helps the body cell take up glucose from the blood and to lower blood sugar levels. So a little known fact is that by the time somebody figures out they're actually diabetic, is that about over half of those cells, beta cells in the pancreas, have died. And so that's why we're trying to identify more people with deficiencies in their blood sugar, what they call borderline diabetics, what we call pre-diabetics, if you will, because we want to catch some of these people before they lose almost half of your beta function in your pancreas. The only way most of your oral medications are going to work is if your pancreas is still able to stimulate some insulin. So if you're still working your pancreas hard, if you're in denial about your blood sugar, you're still eating what you want to, then you're working your pancreas extra hard. And when you get to that point where you should need, where you want intervention, it may be further into the stage of insulin. And so insulin, of course, people take. Of course, your type 1 diabetics are going to take insulin lifelong because their pancreas is deficient from an early age. But those who have type 2, you are going to want to preserve your pancreas function. And so you do that by making sure you limit those things that you already know increases the sugar in your blood system. And so I want you, as your challenge today, to check your blood sugar. Get your blood sugar checked. Find somebody with a machine. Call around. Say, hey, do you have a blood glucose meter that I can check my blood sugar? You're going to want to get that if maybe at work you have access. You just want to get your blood sugar checked as a part of this challenge and as a part to knowing your numbers. It may be something that you didn't realize was a problem for you until it's been 2 hours after you've eaten and your blood sugar is still 200. And so these are the little monitors that you use to check your blood sugar. They are available in many different brands. The essential factor is that there's a meter, there is a lancet which you use to stick your finger, and there's a test strip. And so you want to make sure that you know your numbers and that you know your blood sugar. So diabetes is a whole separate class, process, a deep dive in and of itself. We are going to have an opportunity to just go much deeper into diabetes, actually what it is, medication, treatment goals, treatment regimens, and all of that. We're going to do the Zing Spring Clean Your Body, so don't forget that's going to come up, Zing Spring Clean, where we're actually going to look at diabetes as a separate entity and take a deep dive, evaluate some of you who may have diabetes, and actually make sure that your treatment plan is in line with your goals, because sometimes we have plans that aren't aligned with our goals, and that makes it very hard to accomplish. And so tips for success is going to be number 1, to eat better. So you may know some of the things that you need to do to eat better, but we're going to take a deep dive into that, into our Zing Spring Clean Your Body. You want to make sure you get active. This should be familiar. All of this we've talked about this week. You want to maintain a healthy weight. Again, we're going to look at what your weight is for you, where you are in your ideal weight, and we're going to look at your numbers, see how they trend down as it relates to you actually improving some of these other things in your life. So make sure you print out your How to Reduce Blood Sugar, your handout PDF file that is attached for this tip of the day. It is uploaded to the Facebook group, and also it's in the email that you get every day about this challenge. This challenge is brought to you by Zing Life Service. I am your moderator from this challenge. I am Nikidra Brown. I am the nurse practitioner who teaches and trains you on ways to get and stay healthy. I really hope that you all are enjoying this. You should see how every day we just add more to the challenge. Yesterday you were challenged to get your blood sugar checked and your blood pressure checked, and today your challenge is to get your blood sugar checked. So your challenge for today is to actually get your blood sugar checked. Report that to your accountability partner so they can make sure if you are higher than you're supposed to be, that you have some accountability to getting that within normal limits. It's super important that you know your numbers so that you'll know where you are as it relates to normal values. You got it? I hope you do. So we have question and answer every night during this challenge. If you're watching this after the challenge, you can send any questions that you may have to zinglifeservices@gmail.com. You can also visit our website at www.zinglifeservices.com. We are super excited to be able to provide this care to the community. The mission of Zing Life Services is to improve the quality of life within the community. Basic life skills, health promotion and wellness, and self-esteem development are the hallmarks of our organizations and programs, and we find ways to reduce barriers and inequalities as it relates to health. So that's why it's important for us to do this challenge, to make sure it was available on Facebook or social media, as well as email, as well as YouTube, to get it out in many different platforms, because we know that people have different levels of accessibility and availability, but you should have access to good health education and information. So today's number 5 topic is reducing blood sugar. I hope that you have enjoyed your topic for the day. Make sure you get your blood sugar checked. Make sure you consider joining our Zing Spring Clean because it's going to be nothing like getting your body spring cleaned for the spring. I'll see you next session. Bye-bye.